Monkey.
Now, Vergil Ortiz has stopped Michael McKinson, but I actually wasn't fortunate enough to catch this fight live. So rather than talk about this fight, I'm going to talk about who I think Vergil Ortiz should fight next and kind of my thoughts on Vergil Ortiz. So, kind of the first time I saw Vergil Ortiz was his fight against, was it Maurice Hooker? That's it. And he kind of reminded me of Canelo in his way. He was kind of coming forward. He was at a disadvantage in terms of reach and arm length, but Vergil Ortiz just has this ability to impose himself on his opponents. And the night I saw him, fight against Maurice Hooker, he was able to take Maurice Hooker's shots, absorb them relatively easily, and walk Maurice Hooker down. And very shots go to the head, go to the body, and he looks like he is a big puncher, this guy. So yeah, in terms of his style, he did remind me a lot of Canelo Alvarez. But who I think he should fight next is Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, I don't know if the fight will happen next, but I just feel like Vergil Ortiz Jr. is 24 years old. Jaron Ennis is 25 years old. These guys are looking like the two prospects of the welterweight division. You've got your guys such as your Spence, your Terence Crawford. To be fair now, guys like Sean Porter's retired, Garcia's moved up in weight, Keith Thurman is very inactive. So really, you've got Spence and Crawford at the top of the division. And let's say the level below that is these guys who I believe will probably be world champions in a couple of years from now. And it looks like, this could be set up as a legacy fight between Jaron Ennis and Vergil Ortiz Jr. Obviously, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I've been very impressed with both guys. Vergil Ortiz has a very exciting come forward pressure fighter type style, and Jaron Ennis is also a very big puncher. Jaron Ennis is just very, very athletic. He's a very, very strong guy, and he punches from very awkward angles. Whenever I see him, get his opponents out of there, he hits you from very, very awkward angles. He finds angles. And he also just looks very casual when Jaron Ennis does it. He's not someone who necessarily needs to implement the most amount of footwork in order to find those angles like someone like a Vasily Lomachenko does. Lomachenko uses a lot of footwork, but whenever I see Jaron Ennis, it's just usually very straightforward. And obviously, he's, in terms of his body structure, Jaron Ennis has very long arms, and that essentially gives him an advantage, whereas Lomachenko is actually a relatively small lightweight. So he's probably a little bit more proactive, Lomachenko, when he goes about his finding angles. Now, I wonder if they're going to try to build up this fight. They might be like, no, it's too early for Jaron Ennis to fight Vergil Ortiz Jr., like they normally do in boxing, really. They want to pad up another guy's resume, pad the other guy's resume up. Hopefully both guys stay undefeated and they can really cash out and make the most money. So from a financial point of view, that would be more beneficial for them to drag it on and wait for the fight. But from a boxing fan's point of view, you do want to see the fight now. And I guess it's going to be a similar situation to what I believe might happen between Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. I feel like those two guys will fight years down the line. That they'll try to take out all the guys in front of them, and they'll probably be the last two left because they're the most skilled in their weight classes, in my opinion, personally. And it would be an extremely technical fight that the hardcores would enjoy, sorry. Not necessarily the casuals. They might say, oh, it's a boring fight, and so on and so forth. But in terms of pure boxing fans' point of view, the technique in that fight, the skill level, it's just incredible, really. So I wonder if that's going to be the same with Vergil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. I don't think it would drag out too long because they are in the same weight class. I mean, they can only avoid being paired against each other for so long. And I'm not saying they're ducking each other or that they'll try to duck each other. No, that's not what I'm insinuating. I'm saying that just in general, the representatives of the fighters, the advisors, the promoters, they're probably going to have more control over who a certain fighter fights next. And they're probably just going to want to, pad up on Jaron Ennis and Vergil Ortiz's resume. So just a short little video here today, guys. What did you think of Vergil Ortiz's performance? Because I didn't see it, so I'd like someone to tell me what they thought of his performance. Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. He probably performed or underperformed, and because I didn't see it, I'm gassing him up. But in reality, he didn't perform well, but I haven't seen it. So hopefully I can go back and rewatch the fight. But for those of you who have watched the fight, if you could please comment in the comment section below and tell me how it went and what your thoughts were on the fight, that would be much appreciated. Alright guys, peace.